Hey, you like shoving things in your ass? Then this may be the movie for you. Butt Boy is directed and stars Tyler Cornack as Chip. Chip lives a pretty mundane life with a job that he hates and a marriage that's just not quite working out. One day, however, Chip discovers something about himself that brings new meaning to his life. Chip likes to shove things in his ass. And this quickly becomes an addiction. And like any other addiction, it starts small. You know, little unassuming things around the house. But Chip's insatiable appetite for things in his ass quickly grows to larger things, odd things, living things. So eventually, when some neighborhood kids go missing, yes, you heard that right, the police get involved and a detective is put on the case. And we have our movie. I don't really want to tell much more about the story of this movie because it has to be seen to really appreciate everything here. This is a weird fucking movie, if you didn't already get that from the title. But all weirdness aside, it is executed really well. The premise of this movie is pretty fucking out there and goofy. And in a lot of cases, I feel like this kind of movie would have been played really goofy. And if they had done that, I don't really know if it would have worked. But instead, they decided to go a different route, which is surprising given the premise of the film. I was honestly expecting something kind of goofy and probably poorly acted and just kind of really out there because it was just so fucking weird. But that's not what I got. I mean, yeah, we got the out there because it's just so fucking weird part, but the poorly acted and goofiness, that's not here. That's not to say there's not weird shit in this movie. Yes, this whole fucking movie's weird, but there's some really good performances, an actual interesting story, and the oddest thing of all is that they play it all 100% straight. And this is what really made the movie work the most, was this straight-laced execution from beginning to end. It never breaks. This is not a goofy movie. This isn't even really a comedy in the traditional sense. Now, even though this isn't a comedy, surprisingly enough, you will find yourself laughing at the oddest things. Because it's like they found the weirdest off-kilter thing that they could. The weirdest fucking idea they could come up with. And then found just all this weird shit to put into the movie that usually would be in a goofy ass movie. And they said to themselves, hey, I've got a challenge. Let's do this shit all 100% straight. No goofiness, no goofball ha-ha bullshit. We're doing it 100% straight up, straight down the middle drama. And that's what they did, and holy shit, it worked. The first half of this movie's story is definitely all about addiction. It does not try and hide it in the slightest. This is totally an addiction story in the first half of this movie. And even though some of the stuff that happens in this movie is really fucking out there, the retrospective that our characters have when talking about some of these events is kind of poignant at times. It's really fucking weird that I'm sitting here saying there's poignant conversations in a movie called Butt Boy. But they're there. Now let's talk about those conversations because that's where this movie really shines. The dialogue and conversations between the characters in this movie is fucking great. There are so many really tense interactions within this movie that are just done so well. And it's all 100% old school acting and dialogue. The writing here is really good, but that writing is only going to be as good as the performances. And the performances are all really good too. While our lead, Tyler Cornack, does a great job here, the standout overall would be Tyler Rice as Detective Russell. When you first see this character, you think he's gonna be some type of like Serpico cliche or something. But he really quickly proves that no, that's not what's going on here. He's given a legit performance, and it's actually really damn good. The vast majority of these tense conversations I was talking about do involve these two characters, Chip and Russell. And both characters do a fantastic job with excellent dialogue about this really fucking weird premise. That's the part that gets me the most. They took this really fucking just goofy ass weird out there thing, which yes, it is weird. It's as weird as you think it would be from the synopsis I gave you. But they took that and they actually have serious conversations concerning this thing, and they don't sound goofy. I mean, this had to be a challenge that somebody gave them and they went forth with it. That is the only thing I can think. Either way, they did a great job in the writing and story department as well as the performances in this movie. The movie also messes with you some and makes you not really know who it is you're supposed to be rooting for at any given time. I mean, it's just back and forth. You're never 100% sure of which one you're supposed to be rooting for. But the story does a really good job of setting up both these characters and making them both likable in their own way. Now, there's some things that both characters, one in particular, do that are just kind of fucked up and make it a little hard to follow behind them. But even with those things, the movie does a really good job of keeping both characters likable enough for you to get behind them. A lot of weird out there movies like this will typically leave you on more of an ambiguous note in the end as well. But something that they did here that you don't get a lot of the times with this kind of movie is that they followed through all the way to the end with their premise. It's fucking weird and out there, but they stuck to it till the end. They said, we're doing this thing and we're doing it all the way to the end. There's not a whole lot of ambiguity here. I mean, there's a couple of things. One thing in particular, you're wondering how and why, but that's not really the big important question here. Everything, for the most part, that you want to know gets answered in pretty spectacular fashion. While I can appreciate ambiguity in my movies, it is nice to sometimes get that really straightforward, satisfying ending. And that is exactly what they provide here. Guys, I surprisingly really like this movie. It's really out there and it's fucking weird, but that straight-laced approach to everything in the movie just really worked for it. And I was entertained from beginning to end. The surprisingly great performances to some out there material are what totally carry this movie. And if you've been looking for your dose of weird as fuck, then check this one out because it is totally worth a rent. This is a really good movie, but it is pretty out there. It's totally worth seeing, but you gotta get behind that premise first. Just give it a chance, get behind it and ride it out, and I think you'll have a great time with this movie. So there it is, guys, my review of Butt Boy. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a thumbs up. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Franklin. This is a really good movie. I think it's going to end up being like a cult classic or something. I don't think it'll necessarily blow up right now, but I think it will have really long legs and people will be discovering it for years to come. So I guess you could say it's going to go down in the annals of history. What the fuck am I doing? But